Hi there, welcome to another episode of Automotive Weekly. I'm your host, Youcef, and today we're going to be joined by a few special guests from the Toyota Motor Company. Hi, so our first guest today on Automotive Weekly is Prabhjot, the CEO of Toyota. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you doing?
So we'll get right into this. So we all know Toyota is a huge company. Can you kind of explain where Toyota came from?
So Toyota is Japan's biggest car company. It was founded in 1933, and the founder of this company is Kawachi Toyota. And Toyota's core business is in automobile production, and it extends its industrial groups of machinery, electronics, and finance. It also its first set of cars was Toyota AL in 1935, and by end of 1960, the Toyota had created its famous production system management, and this mode helped them to continue and improve their excellent plant efficiency and also production of cars. And by 1970 was their golden year for Toyota, because it helped them reach, by 1970 they reached production nearly 200 million, and Toyota became the first production in the world, beating Ford.
Alright. Are there any strategies the company is focusing on currently?
Two core strategies that Toyota focuses on is respecting the people and continuous improvement. They do this through their technical skills and development capabilities. So part of the strategy is to put great emphasis on studying the customer demands. So other strategy of Toyota are that follow the Porter's model, specifically cost leadership and broad differentiations. So the first strategy deals with minimizing the production cost to attain leadership. Toyota does this through just-in-time production manufacturing, and also their second strategy is broad differentiation, which deals with more unique and attractive products for market segments.
And then is there any value chain initiatives that the company follows currently?
So Toyota's value chain is divided into two activities, so primary and supportive. So focusing on the primary activities, for which make up the supply chain management, include inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing, sales, and service. These are the core value chains that Toyota follows, which form of the procurement, manufacturing, distribution, and marketing. So the inbound logistic covers receiving, storing, and dismantling of the inputs. And the operations part of the value chain involves the process of assembly, manufacturing, transmitting, and final products. The outbound part of the primary covers the collective storing, distributing, and products of the buyers.
Nice, very impressive. So Toyota has a great history, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So up next, we're going to be joined by the CFO, JP. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to Automotive Weekly. We are now joined by the CFO of Toyota, John Paul. So John Paul, we have a few things to talk about today. So do you want to start with the financials, then we'll work into some initiatives you guys have in place? All right, so do you want to start us off with talking about the revenues?
Yeah, so the revenues for Toyota has been pretty good, but since 2010 to 2015, we haven't seen a dramatic spike. However, in 2015, Toyota has seen approximately $227 billion in revenue, which is substantial, seeing how the next competitor, GM, has only seen approximately $75 billion.
So JP, how is this affecting your inventory levels?
So our inventory levels are pretty high at the moment, seeing how we are a large company with different product brands, starting from Prius, which is our more environmentally friendly product vehicles, to our higher brands like Lexus.
In 2015, do you have a range for your inventory?
So in 2015, we saw our inventory levels at approximately $18 billion, which is quite substantial.
And is there any way of helping reduce that number?
Yeah, so to reduce that number, we want to focus more on the make-to-order kind of production. We know that we have to hold inventory to build these cars, but for the finished product, we like to make it so that it's ready for the customer there and then.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about the two initiatives that you guys have focused on. So as your CEO mentioned, you have the just-in-time and lean manufacturing. Do you want to kind of give us a detailed overview of the two?
Yeah, sure would. So both our initiatives are customer based, so we want to focus on the customer needs as our products are geared towards the customer. So for just-in-time production is we're looking at making what is needed and for the customer and just in time for the customer. So this is solely based on the market trends. So we're looking at the supply and demand of each individual customer. As they order the product, we could go ahead and make it just in time for them. So this idea of just-in-time production is based on hijunka, which essentially means trying to reduce as much waste as possible. This benefits both the customer and Toyota, as we look for suppliers who provide the exact parts that's needed for the exact models that the customer wants, and also it benefits us as Toyota, so we don't produce waste while producing these cars. Also for lean manufacturing, as I said before, it's also geared towards the customer. So for lean manufacturing, there's 5 principles. So the first principle is specifying the value. So looking at what the customer needs and how that product that they want creates value for them. The second principle is identifying and creating value stream. So this is looking for suppliers that that has the right values that we can bring in to create the product and build it so that the finished product has every value that the customer wants. The third is making a value flow. So this is finding and eliminating any aspects of our supply chain that could create any congestions in order to reduce the amount of time it takes to make these cars to get to the customer. Fourth is we took a pull, not a push production, in which that the production of our vehicles are based on the demand of our vehicles. So our customer demand determines what type of cars we make and how many of them we make. And finally, we want to strive for perfection. So as I said before, we want to give the customer everything they need, which also benefits Toyota, the customer, and like our employees in general.
All right. So up next, we're going to be talking to the Chief Project Development Manager for Toyota. And thank you very much for joining me today. We'll catch up soon. We are now joined by Ashwin, who's the Chief Project Development Manager at Toyota. Ashwin is here to talk about his new initiative in the supply chain.
Yep, so this initiative actually is called the New Global Architecture for Toyota.
What does the program do?
Essentially what it does is it standardizes our production so we're more cost effective and basically our supply chain runs more smoothly.
All right, so Ashwin, what are the implications of applying this new program to Toyota's current supply chain?
So the main purpose of this program is to ensure that Toyota has long-term growth. Basically, this initiative will reduce our overall cost. It'll make your company more reliable and more agile. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the hundreds of different unique platforms that we use to build our cars based upon. We would actually be minimizing those to 5 components, or 5 base platforms approximately. And so this is basically the standardization that we're going to use, and we're going to use the components that we have from all these cars, and we're going to be putting it, for example, we're going to be putting components from Toyota Corolla into cars like the Prius or other different types of cars that we have. So this basically standardization of our production will help basically reduce our cost. It'll help minimize our suppliers that we need to keep up with our JIT program, and we would be a whole lot more reliable to get the product to the consumer.
All right, so Ashwin, how is the TNGA initiative helping Toyota, and what is currently being done for it?
So as of right now in 2015, we have decided that we're going to build a manufacturing facility in Mexico. This facility will be completed in 2019. This facility is basically made it's going to be state of the art and just going to have the newest technology that we need to manufacture our cars long term. It's going to move the production of the Toyota Corolla from Cambridge, Ontario to Mexico. The reason for this is very strategic. Because the Toyota Corolla is a lot higher demand and we need to build more of those cars, because the labor rates in Mexico are significantly lower, and it would be much more ideal to reduce our margins on the Corolla by producing in Mexico instead of Canada. Now the Canadian Cambridge, Ontario plant will actually will be producing the mid-size and higher value vehicles. Now these vehicles have a lower demand, so we would have the lower need of labor in Canada, which would help our cost itself for the higher value vehicles itself.
So on behalf of all our viewers, I just want to thank Ashwin for joining us today. The initiative sounds very interesting, and we'll have to do a follow-up appointment in a couple of months to see how it's been going. Thank you very much. On this week's episode of Automotive Weekly, we want to thank our special guest from Toyota. Next week, we hope you tune in. We're going to be talking to a few key executives at Volkswagen to see how they're overcoming their recent problems with their diesel.
Y'all ready for this?
By Ashwin, who is the Chief Project Development Manager at Toyota. So Ashwin, I heard that we have a new initiative. We do not have a new initiative. You talk about today. So we'll start off with the financials, and then we'll talk about some of the initiatives you guys have in place. Why?